going to give you the basics of Copilot and how to get started. I'm Erin. I'm the marketing manager with Marquee 360. You guys have probably seen some email invites from me. I'm going to be helping Zach host the webinar, and he is going to do the technical portion of the demo today. Zach, do you want to say hi?
Hey, I'm Zach Watson. I'm a solutions architect with Marquee 360, and as Aaron said, I'm just going to be doing the technical part today, showing off some demo stuff related to Copilot and all that fun stuff.
Well, thanks, Zach. And all right, so just a quick introduction to Marquee 360 for those of you who are new today. We are a project and portfolio management partner with Microsoft. We were actually awarded Partner of the Year finalists for the third year in a row. We help build off of Microsoft solutions, extending the capabilities to give you more seamless and upgraded experience. Our team has been in the project management space for many years. So we're very familiar with the landscape and how Microsoft pushes out their new products and new upgrades. So our customers are always getting the latest from Microsoft and from us. All right. And our core focuses are, the first one is innovation. So like I said, we work off the Microsoft platform to extend the capabilities. And we utilize the Power Platform a lot for that. So being able to use the Power Platform to create apps and reduce redundancies in your workload. We work to give your team a seamless experience so that they're not they can focus on the work that matters. They're not stuck doing manual things anymore. And our customers see a huge boost in productivity and collaboration through using our solutions. We also focus on customer success. So we won't just tell you what we think you need. We work with you through requirements gathering to figure out what works best for your business in particular. And we'll never just implement something and then move on. We make sure that your team is comfortable with it. You know how to use the solution. We really feel we're only as successful as our customers are in using our products. And with that, we focus a lot on support after implementation. So we have hypercare training, workshops. We do have a dedicated support team and support system, so you can submit tickets at any time and hear from our team. And then if you need any additional work in the future, you can use blocks of support hours as well for enhancements. And a lot of our customers do stay on post-implementation through support. All right. And now I'm going to pass it over to Zach.
Thanks, Aaron. So today we're going to be introducing Copilot at a very basic level, discussing, understanding how this AI-driven coding assistance can make app and flow creation a little bit more simple for you. And we're going to provide a live demonstration with some practical examples to show how to better use the tool. Next slide, please. So just to start, let's get a grasp on what exactly Copilot is. Copilot is AI not developed by Microsoft, but used by Microsoft, based on ChatGPT from OpenAI. And with Copilot inside of Power Platform, we can use Copilot to simplify app creation. So using plain text English and just describing with everyday words what you want, you can describe what you want to build an app or to build a flow. And it really is as simple as that. Of course, there's going to be oodles of limitations as this is new and developing technology, but it can really get you to a great starting point where the basis of development is kind of handled. All your baselines are set, and you can you can start from there. It's a good launching point. And with that, we're going to go ahead and transition into the live demo portion of the webinar. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We'll be monitoring, and we'll make sure to answer those either in the chat or when we have the time to. So with Copilot, as stated before, there's a lot of different ways to interact with AI to create an app to fit your business requirements. Here, we're going to create a Canvas app to start. And on the home page of Power Apps, they actually provide a few great examples of what you could do. You could collect RSVPs, track sales leads, list inventory, etc. You really could do a lot of different things. It is up to your imagination and how you can describe this. But making sure we're in the correct environment here at the top right inside of our Power Apps and on the home page, I'm simply going to ask Copilot to collect RSVPs right now. I'm going to make it a little bit more complex than that just to challenge the AI. We're going to say also collect birthdays and the chance of attendance as a percent. Just so we can get a little bit more information in there. So I think that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and let Copilot start. And the first thing it's to do is build out some good sample data for us, some background data. And we can see now we have a table here with a unique ID. We've got a name column, that birthday column, and attendance chance column I asked for. A couple more changes that we could make just to this data, because maybe I want to collect a last name too, and maybe I don't like that percentage chance. Instead, we just want a yes or no if they'll attend, right? We're just trying to collect some RSVPs. So I'll say also collect yes or no for if they will attend at all. And we'll have Copilot work on that for just a second. And there we have a will attend column. If I want to rename it, I could simply ask ChatGPT, or on the back end when it's done, I could rename it there. I'm going to say also add a last name column. And why not also add an email column? And we might as well try to remove the attendance chance column, and we'll see if the AI can handle that successfully. It should, and it did. Perfect. So I think this table looks good. We've got a first name, we've got a last name, their birthday, why not, whether or not they're going to attend, and their contact information. So I think I'm ready to go here. So I'm going to select Create App. And now on the back end, Microsoft and Copilot is applying a Canvas Apps template. Most of these AI-generated apps would look the same through Canvas Apps, and we'll see that here in just a second. There's a template they have built out that's similar to what you may think about a model-driven app functions like. It's just a form with a list of different rows, and then as you click the one, you can modify the form. We'll see if this takes too much longer. But while this does load, we can talk about model-driven apps and Copilot. So Copilot specifically for model-driven apps is actually quite limited. They don't provide too much functionality just yet. Of course, as the situation develops with AI, things may change and additional functionality might get added. But for the moment, Copilot with model-driven apps is really only useful for analyzing your data. So as you can see on the far right side of my screen, I've got Copilot pulled up for model-driven apps. And it's just asking me what I'd like to do. And the only options are analyze. I can, look at the top 10 accounts with the highest revenue. I can, look at how many, for example, projects there are, or what are the projects that I've created in the past week, but it won't interact with anything. The real functionality for model-driven apps is currently only analyzing your data. You can't make any changes for model-driven apps. So it's very limited, but there will likely be changes in the future as this technology develops. Coming back now to our RSVP app that we were creating and checking on if it's done, and it is. Um, and with this is a Canvas app, so we can see the finished result of all of our progress with Copilot. We verified that table in the back end, and now we can see this application that it has created. Now, again, this is a sort of template application specifically for Canvas apps created with Copilot. So if you create any kind of application through Copilot, a Canvas app, it will look very similar to this, where we've got, a header with a title, list on the left side that we can select from, and on the right side is a form.
Hey,
We can
Zach,
verify
really
that.
quick,
Yes.
before we get any deeper, I just wanted to clarify for the group if they're not familiar with Power Apps, we have a quick question about like you said model-driven app and now you're back in Canvas app. Can you just tell the group like that those two differences exist that Microsoft
Oh,
has that go
yeah,
through that really
absolutely.
quick? Thanks.
Yes. So within Power Apps, there's two different kinds of apps. There's model-driven apps and there's Canvas apps. Model-driven apps are very building block kind of feeling. They're very building block based. So you can see here, I'm in a model-driven app right now. And I can click into my projects and, we can see, all of the different tabs, and we have a tasks tab that has a project schedule. You may be familiar with this. This is what we call a model-driven app. It's very building blocky. It's very low code, very, very low code on the back end to create. And in contrast, a Canvas app, you can think of it like you have an open canvas where really the world is your oyster, for lack of a better term. And you can go in and customize this to extreme detail visually. So those are really two different kinds of apps. You've got model driven here, and you've got Canvas apps here, where Canvas apps are much more customizable. Um, And just to reiterate, with Copilot on model-driven apps, Copilot can really only analyze your data, but with the Canvas app, Copilot is able to do much more. See how I can create, I can change, but I can also ask and analyze if I wanted to here as well. I hope that answers your question. So continuing forward, just verifying that this pre-built app works here, we can hop into a preview, we can click around. We've got our sample data in here. If I wanted to, I could add a new record, put in some information here, Zach Watson. Yes, awesome. Great. Easy enough. And yes, I will attend. And then I just confirm. And we can see now that that information has been entered. So this is great. Awesome. I really like this app that Copilot has created. Maybe I want to make a couple changes still. Maybe I think that I could make a change to the formatting. And thankfully, Copilot has some really great suggestions that we could make for changes that we could make. So if I wanted the font size of the selected label to be larger potentially, and I could come here and select a label, and then I could submit. We'll see how Copilot handles this. And with this developing technology, there's a lot of the time where Copilot might not understand, and it might not recognize what you're asking for because it does read plain text English, and you might not be, specific enough with what you're asking for. And sometimes it nails it on the first try, like it did here. Let's say I want to, okay, I'm going to go ahead and deselect, and let's say I want to remove the email field. I don't want an email anymore. I think I know who everybody is. I know their first and last name. I have their phone number saved. I don't need an email. Let's see how Copilot handles this. What we'd expect is for email to be removed and we can move on with our lives. But as you can see, this is one of the failure cases, and it could be the way that I worded things, or it could be just a general lack of understanding, or maybe I didn't have things selected. An important thing to note with Copilot, especially with Canvas apps and with Power Automate, is it can be very, very finicky. It can work when it wants to, and it can fail when it wants to. And oftentimes you'll find with this kind of newly developing, just emerging technology, there can be a lot of issues. But that shouldn't take away from the fact that I typed in a couple sentences into a text box, and I mean, I really have everything I need. If I wanted to go in and remove email, all I need to do is click here and click delete. I don't necessarily need to ask ChatGPT. Now, for more complex things that aren't necessarily low code, like a mouse click and pressing the delete key, yeah, it would help to have some more experience. And ideally, Copilot can handle those things eventually. But for right now, I think this is an absolutely fantastic start to my RSVP app. And yeah, I think Copilot did a really great job in doing what I asked for, and what it didn't, I was able to compensate with my own experience. So with that, we already touched on model-driven apps and how Copilot has very basic functionality, only able to search necessarily your data. We can go ahead and move on to Power Automate and Power Automate flows. Now let me go to the home page in Power Automate. Again, in the top right, making sure I'm in the proper environment. We can see on the home page here that they have a Create Your Automation with Copilot for Power Automate flows. And they, again, provide a few examples here. Every month, copy files from one OneDrive folder to another, copy all rows from an Excel file to another Excel file with a click of a button. When a new item is created in SharePoint, send me an email. All of these kind of pre-built things that you could ask Copilot to do, and it would generate that flow for you. For this example, I think I want to say, send a Teams message to myself. And we can see here, I've typed this in before, of course, in preparation. So I already have this in my history. So I'm actually going to select this. It's manually triggered, and it sends a Teams message to myself. So I'm going to select that. And now we're going to enter a describe window, similar to how we had this data window when we were creating our Canvas app. We could see the table. In this case, it's going to show us an overview of the flow. So I can see the trigger, which is going to be manual by the press of a button, and I can see the actions, where it's going to post a message in a chat or channel in Teams. That's exactly what I asked for, and it's simple enough. So I'm going to go ahead and click next and continue to the flow. Before I can do that, of course, I have to connect to Microsoft Teams. If you are using Power Automate and you are going to, have an action that works through SharePoint or Teams or any kind of Office 365 application like Outlook, for example, you need to create a connection, and that's just what it's asking us to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and verify that, which thankfully it already is, and then I'll go ahead and create my flow. And now we can see the flow is here and it's been created. We have a manually trigger a flow trigger, which is exactly what I wanted. And that'll just trigger at the press of a button when I want it to. And then we have a post a message in a chat or channel action. Now looking a little closely here, we can actually see that on the left side, the recipient is referencing an action that does not exist in the flow. So in short, in between both of these, manually trigger a flow and post a message, there should be an action that gets an email, so that this post a message action knows who to send the message to. But ChatGPT, or sorry, Copilot did not include that action, and I didn't realize it was needed. So I think I'm going to go ahead and ask Copilot to include an action for that. So I'm going to say, post message in a chat or channel needs a recipient, include if I could spell, sorry, include a get email action to get my email before post message in a chat or channel. I'm being very descriptive just because I feel like sometimes the AI can be, a little hit or miss here or there. So I really want it to get what I'm asking for on the first try. And it could just mess up anyways, or it might work. So let's take a look here. I went ahead and sent that message. Now Copilot is working on it. Sorry I couldn't understand your request. Please try again. That's all right. We'll give it one more try. We're going to say add an action to get my email, simply put, and we will hit send. And we'll see how exactly it places this and how this plays into our recipient on the left side. So we can see now, I think it understood better what was going on. It said it updated the posted message in a chat or channel action, and it added the email properly, but it also added to get my profiles. Um, this is a really great example of how the AI can get things right but wrong at the same time. We really only need one of these. All I need to do is, from Office 365 users, pull my email one time so that I can then put it in the posted message recipient input. But for some reason, it decided to put it in there twice. Um, Again, just a really great example of how the AI can do something right, but it can also be wrong at the same time. I don't need this action, and I don't think I need to tell ChatGPT to delete it. I'm just going to select it, and I'm going to press delete. And then here, I'm going to verify that this recipient is correct, get my profile, and get my email. Great. One last change I'm going to make is the content of this message. Hello, this flow has been manually triggered here on the left side. I want to change that. So I'm going to say change the message on the post message action um, to be a funny joke. Why not? How could asking AI to make a funny joke possibly go wrong? So it's working on it. And there we can see it updated. And here it says, why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. Awesome. I think this is exactly the flow that I want. So I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to go into the top right and I'm going to test my flow. And I'm going to hopefully very shortly receive a Microsoft Teams message after I verify the Office 365 connection. And then we can show that to you all and go forward with answering any questions you might have. Okay, it says the flow is run successfully. And I have here, if you can see, a Teams message from the workflow. I'm just pulling it up now. Apologies. Well, it looks like my share screen is frozen, but the Teams message did go through, thankfully. The flow ran successfully, and I can happily say that I now know why the Scarecrow won an award, which is great. So that being said, I do want to mention that's not everything that Copilot has to offer. There's a lot more than just Power Apps and Power Automate. There's a lot of Microsoft Office tools like Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook, which we may cover in a later webinar. But Copilot is in all of those, and you can do many things like generate new content for a slideshow, email suggestion, generate email suggestions, and things of that nature. Due to the constraints of AI, there's unfortunately not an infinite amount of possibilities. Um, Again, just because of the constrictions, but there's absolutely tons of way to interact with this AI, build applications, generate content, and make flows that fit your business needs with Copilot. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor to questions, hand things back over to Aaron, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Okay. Also, I know we only had a half hour, and some people are in different places in their Power Platform journey. We're more than happy to have a consultation and figure out where you're at and what your needs are, and help meet you. Whether you're an expert, we can help you build your apps if you don't have the time, or if you're just getting started. Zach has been helping customers one-on-one work with their team and um, build apps with them, build flows, reports, um, So if anyone has any interest in that, please feel free to reach out. And we always have monthly webinars on the Power Platform, so look out for new ones coming up. And if any questions pop up while you're using any of these technologies, please feel free to reach out to us. And I also did put a survey in the chat. If you guys can fill that out, that's awesome. It helps us just know what kind of content you're looking for. And thanks so much for joining us.